One more thing I wanted to read real quick, because like I said, man, I'm on this thing with the spear shaker. The will. William Shakespeare is will. I am the will. I shake the spear of destiny. This is what I be getting from spirit, telling me what path I need to be on, and I've been expanded. Every time I find like I'm there, okay, boom, this is it. A whole damn know a whole. I mean, man, so much knowledge is still there. That everything I learned is just nothing but one kernel of a whole damn pot of kernels, man. So, page 69 of the book, The Mark of the Beast by Trevor Ravencroft and Tim Wallace Murphy, subtitled The Continuing Story of the Spear of Destiny. Like I told y'all, I relate this with the jet pillar. I relate this with the Tekanu, the Obelisk, like in DC or whatever, and the memorials that you see in the cemeteries. I relate this with the jet pillar. I relate this with the caduceus of Hermes, the tree of life, the Kabbalah tree of life, the Cometian or Egyptian tree of life, which was brought together basically by Dr. Muhammad Ashby. The Kundalini, the Divine Mother, this all resonates with all of that, the seed being birthed within, the second coming of the Christ, this Christ consciousness, all this thing, it's all relating. It's in the movies, the latent powers of the human beings or we'll just say us coming back online to attempt to change the reality while they want to fulfill the apocalypse in a physical way, like destroying millions of people, things like that. Instead, what we want to do is we want to make this into a particular type of paradise. We want to get rid of money. We want things to be equal, man. We want to do something better. But it seems as though what they have done is they reversed it. The mark of the beast is the person with the pineal gland open, the all-seeing eye, right? And the one with the calcified pineal gland is the one who follows all the rules, goes to work, loves slavery, loves the material world, loves to consume, loves to do all the holidays, go to all the damn national celebrations, celebrate every damn celebration that there is to celebrate, Ash Wednesday and shit, just doing everything to be a part of this physical reality and its machine, and not spending any time, or like I say, paying tithes to your spiritual parent or parents. Page 69. The heart of the matter, prophetic pillars of the apocalypse. It's in that section. I was going to read the whole damn section, but Anyway, the Druids believed in the 7 spirit senses. The Druids believed that the 7 spirit senses were not only latent in man himself, but also existed as an alignment of earth chakras in the body of the plane, or in the body of the planet. And also dealing with the rainbow being transformed into basically a circle, and all of those being encompassed by the violet, purpley looking crown chakra. Rest in peace, Prince Purple Rain. The perception of these telluric centers, remember that word telluric, that relates to typhonic. It relates to what these people out here call demonic, which are really just daimonic, which really means spiritual centers, and the knowledge and insight into their working which is why the new age people come out, spread all the false information instead of giving you the right information to get you on the right path. They want to tell you, shit like, just giving you false information that doesn't resonate with your soul. But you have to wake up to discern that shit yourself. Was an integral part of the perception of these centers, and the knowledge and insight into their working was an integral part of the mystery wisdom of the ancient Druids. There's a lot of mythological movies and TV shows that were created with the Druid mythology and things like that. Check it out. And this is the reason for the presence of the sequence of 7 planetary oracles. All right. Now, oracle relates to all the way to the Delphi oracles with the Omphalos, the Orphic rites, and the serpent encircling the egg, the cosmic egg. Okay, so each of those eggs, or that egg, is represented as being divided as the seven eggs, which are really the spheres within us. You can call them eggs if you want to as well. They birth higher forms of consciousness, especially when they align together, centralize and verticalize. The 7 planetary oracles, which were set up in grottos on 7 sacred sites between Iberia and Scotland, meaning that they put these sacred centers into a manifestation in the reality that they were living in. You know what I mean? And this is how you can create a dream time, a dream world, like the Game of Thrones show. There's 7 centers in the Game of Thrones. You see what I'm saying? It's all fantasy. That's the word I meant to say, fantasy. It's all fantasy, and it's all based in another reality. You see what I'm saying? This is how Jewish people and movie people do create their movies and shit and their stories. The Sun Oracle, the most important, was located in Carnuntum between the Loire and the Eure, a fact reported by none other than Julius Caesar in De Bello Gallico. Above this sun initiation grotto, the Cathedral of Notre Dame de Chartres was built. The Moon Oracle, associated with the mysteries of birth, was situated in northern Spain, in the exact place in the Asturias where the body of St. James was later buried. Today, the carved figure of St. James stands above the pillar of birth in the center of the Gate of Glory in the magnificent Romanesque Cathedral of Santiago de Compostela, St. James of the Field of the Star. Okay. At the bottom of this pillar, therefore, I just told you the sun and the moon. At the bottom of this pillar is a 5-pointed star, the Tetragrammaton, into which millions of pilgrims have placed their fingers. Think about that. The Tetragrammaton. The Mercury and Venus oracles of the Druids were situated within the earth chakras, where the cities of Toulouse and Orleans now stand. Above these ancient mystery grottos today, or grottoes today stand, is Grottoes, today stand their respective cathedrals. The Notre Dame de Paris, or Notre Dame of Paris, was built beside the Seine in the Seine, Seine in the ancient location of the Mars Oracle, while the Notre Dame in Amiens rests above the grotto where the Celtic priests once initiated their novices into the sublime mysteries of the Jupiter Oracle. Rosalind Chapel, Rosy Cross, Rosicrucians, which was originally planned as a great cathedral, stands upon the sacred site of the Saturn Oracle. Think about that. Think about that. And think about how all you black scholars resonate Saturn with the Divine Mother Bina on the Tree of Life. He's in there actually. He, she, whatever's in there actually. The symbol is. This is also represented as the sign for the substance that begins to create the formality of existence, which is called Sat in the Holy Kabbalah, in the Holy Science, in the Holy Science book. It's the book called The Holy Science by Yukteswar Giri. He says that Set is the supreme substance of it all. So there you have Saturn, or Saturn. So, and what I'm saying is we're dealing with melanin. You know what I mean? And the secretion of the melatonin down the tree of life, down the through the endocrine glands. Even before the advent of Christianity, Druid pilgrims who worshipped the earth goddess journeyed from Iberia to Scotland via these planetary oracles. Think about that. That means that they were literally inside themselves, traveling from chakra to chakra, and doing whatever they did in these 7 places. Okay. Today, the New World Order, or the One World Government, has it as the 7 continents of the earth. I think Europe being the smallest, because that's actually a peninsula. They did this from Iberia to Scotland via these planetary oracles associating the alignment of the spirit senses, organs of clairvoyance, within themselves to the corresponding alignment of the earth chakras on the surface of the planet. It's amazing. This would be their whole universe then. Their whole universe would be these 7 centers, these 7 places in their area where they lived. Back to the book. It should now be clear why there was no arbitrary choice involved in discovery as to exactly which 7 cathedrals were an integral part of this apocalyptic configuration in stone dedicated to the goddess Nectura, whom St. John depicts as the Virgin of the Revelation. This goddess Nectura is the same goddess as in the goddess Neat or Nut or Nuit or Anat. She is the black goddess of the book written by Peter Redgrove. The sequence of the site or sites from Iberia to Scotland corresponds to the sequence of the planets in our solar system. Moon, because it's closest to the Earth, and then going to Mercury, Venus, the Sun, Mars, Jupiter, and Saturn. And each cathedral shows in the sacred geometry of its structure the planetary character of the Telluric forces within its locality, which it vibrates heavenwards like an ancient dolmen through its towering spires. Spire as in spiral. Towering as in a tower. Tower of Babel. The tower is the jet pillar. The tower is the obelisk, the Tekanu. It would be quite incorrect to regard this great configuration with the 2 pillars at either end and the 7 cathedrals between them under the royal arc of stars as sometime or something static like a dead monument in stone. The truth is quite the contrary. Just as subliminal forces stream up and down the alignment of the spirit senses within the soul body of man, so similar forces surge northwards and southwards along the great alignment of cathedrals on the surface of the earth. Clairvoyantly perceived, these forces stream and whirl as they fructify the terrain and at the same time create the rainbow aura of the whole configuration. Dowsers, sensitive to earth vibrations, have discovered by their own methods the presence of a ley line passing along this route, but unfortunately they have been unable so far to unravel its real significance and purpose. There is a painting in the Vatican in Rome which throws prophetic light upon these 2 pillars of the apocalypse. It is the painting of the Transfiguration of Christ by Raphael, the famous Renaissance artist who was at the time one of the greatest initiates of Christendom. In this painting, Raphael depicts Christ transfigured above a mountain. On either side we see Moses and Elijah. They're one and the same. Beneath Moses, St. James is seen kneeling in the form of an embryo to represent the mysteries of birth. St. John is depicted below Elijah in a pose which artists of the period used in order to represent initiation. Moses looks back into the past towards Genesis, the original creation of earth existence. Elijah, on the other hand, looks prophetically into the future towards the advent of the New Jerusalem, of the Revelations. St. James is the guide to knowledge which originates from the physical senses and the development of the rational intellect. St. John is the guide to the development of spirit vision and spiritual faculties. This is the Hudi. And when these 2 disciples perceive the transfigured Christ, they are also seeing a prophetic imagination of the second coming of Christ and the transfiguration of the earth, which is predicted in the Revelations. It is these 2 disciples, James and John, who are Anubis and Tahuti, who represent the pillars of wisdom and strength. They are actually, both of them are on the front cover of the Book of the Dead. The tree of knowledge and the tree of life, the 2 hemispheres of the bicameral, and which will become the 2 great witnesses of the apocalypse. Okay, got off of that book, The Mark of the Beast. Just wanted to read something real quick back on. We're still dealing with the Spirit Destiny. We're still dealing with the Tekanu. We're still dealing with the Obelisk. That is all that there is. You know what I mean? This is actually, that is Ayothe Vodhe. Okay, that is Ayot He Vot He. There's a book called The Chicken Kabbalah of Rabbi Lamed Ben Clifford by Lonmilo Duquette or Duke. Okay, and page 103, page 72. Let's see if I can find something more on the tech I knew. Page 74. No, page 95. Page 103. Let's see which one is better. They both look the same. Shit. They both almost have the same information. Let's see. So, the 4 Kabbalistic worlds are resonating with the 4 worlds of the tree of life of Anuian theology. Anu, Duat, Pet, Ta. The other place, known as the Nunu, is just the beginning of our beginning. This is non-local, no space, no time, no nothing, none of that shit. So that's why it's called the Nunu, the Nunu. So for the Bin stone, the capstone of the Obelisk, which is the Takanu, this is the world absolute. This is defined. This goes with the. Okay, let me do it like this. We have the 4 worlds of the universe, or 4 parts of the universe, however you want to say it. It's the 4 Kabbalistic worlds. The first one is Yod, second Hey, third Vau, fourth Hey, final. This is Yod Hey Vot Hey, or Yod Hey Vot Hey, Jehovah, Jehovah, Jehovah. That's where that comes from. The 4 worlds are Atziluth, Bria, Yetzirah, and Asaya. The first world is archetypal. The second world is the creative world. The third world is the formative world. And the fourth world is the material world. On the tree of life of Anuian theology, the first world is the Duat realm, the nether world. The second world is the Pet realm, the heavenly world. And the third world, I'm sorry, I missed Anu. The fourth world will be Ta, along with aligning with the material world Isaiah of the Kabbalistic world. But Anu is going to align up with Atzilut. Okay, Anu aligns up with Atzilut. Bria aligns up with the Duat. Okay, and this is the creative world. Bria is the world of the Thomas Edison Archangel of chairs, the conceiver of the general concept of all chairs. And he uses this as a metaphor, this chair shit. I find that strange because today I was telling you about the Montauk Project and the chair that people sit in the CIA jump room to get from Earth to Mars in the book, The Omniverse. So strange that he's using a chair here. But I just wanted to tell you about that. Showing you that's how they break down the 4 worlds. It aligns with the ancient Egyptian mysticism stuff. But real quick, back to the Kemetic Tree of Life book, and then that's going to be it. Okay. At the center, and this is the diaphragm that they're showing you. Page 78 of this book, though. You got to get the book, The Kemetic Tree of Life, by Dr. Muata Ashby, page 78. At the center, the picture underneath the Nun is Khepri. In fact, it is called Khepri Asha Harau. Khepri is lying on his back. He is actually lying on the primeval ocean. On his feet, lying there, are 3 symbols of body parts. So from 1, he has it come 3. And those 3 touch the head of the cosmic serpent. And this is funny because the symbol that he's showing, that's the symbol for the flesh, 3 symbols for the flesh, it looks just like the Yod symbol, which they would utilize as the symbol of fire or the divine wisdom of the Hebrew God, I guess, in the Hebrew language. Yod. This is just a connection there. These touch the head of the cosmic serpent, the serpent that is in the primeval waters, or on them. No, the serpent is in them. Asha Harau is on the serpent. The name of the serpent is, Khepri Asha Harau. The name of the serpent is Asha Harau, or many-faced one. Remember, Heru's name is Heru means many faces, or Her means face. He, Asha Harau, has 5 heads, tetragrammaton, but as each triangle represents a monad, as in the one which would have 3, and the 3 goes back to the 3 pieces of the bodies of flesh, above the top of the heads of the 5 snakes. So there's 3 times 5, which equals 15, okay, which is the 15 nityas of the divine mother Lalita or Lilith, right? But these 5 heads represent Asha, or manifold, as in Asha, Eshe, Asha, Eshe, Ashe. In other words, multiplicity. Next level down, Anu is the Bin stone, which is the top of the Tekanu, which is the obelisk. The obelisk is an important Kemetic artifact that figures prominently in the Tree of Life, iconography, and spiritual mysteries. In Hinduism, they call images such as these yantras, these special geometric patterns that lead you to a deeper understanding of the mysteries of creation. And if you have studied the book, African Religion, Volume 1, A New Theology of the Mysteries of Ra, Bob Mwanta Ashby, you would have seen a particular symbol of the god Ra, the circle with the dot in the center, black dot. The dot at the center of the symbol of Ra is the same point at the top of the Bin stone. From this Bin in the Kemetic philosophy, you can see the similarity to the concept that arose later in India called the Bindu. In the Hindu myth and philosophy. Actually, you can see the ancient Egyptian Bin point, the black dot, which sits on top of the Bin stone and is derived from or is given into the symbol for this black dot in the center, the black dot in the Hindu yantra called Sri Yantra. The Bin is the capstone of the obelisk. Anu means the first place. Remember what I said about Teotihuacan? First, this is the place where the gods emerged. Well, this is the place where the gods emerged over 5,000 years ago in Egypt. Anu means the first place, the original city, the original spot, the beginning place. And from this single point, all of creation comes forth, just like the Big Bang theory of the modern physicists. From one single point, all matter comes, all the universe comes into being. It expands out of there. You could easily tell that this was some type of knowledge that was known all around the world, and it was only utilized, like, it wasn't that Egypt was the center of beginning of all creation or whatever. You know what I'm saying? It was like that in Mexico too. Ancient Mexico too, and ancient India as well. Manu and all that. So, let me see here. This Bin point, the golden point at the top of the Bin or the Tekanu. I'm sorry. The Bin point, the golden point at the top of the Tekanu. Think about the golden fleece. Think about what the sun does to the skin, and what the melanin concentrating hormone does and tells the melanocytes what the melanocytes tells the melanins to do, and all these things. Think about all this shit. The neuromelanin, the inner melanin in the central nervous system, and think about all that. The fact that the Sumerian gods come down here, the Anunnaki come down here to mine for gold, and the fact that this word Anu is here in the damn language of the ancient Egyptians, referring to the obelisk Tekanu, which is geometrical technology in a spiritual point, in a physical, why your perception is in this physical reality. Okay, this golden point at the top of the Tekanu symbol that is in the top center of the Anunnaki theology, cosmic mythograph, everything comes into being, into the physical plane, mind, you. Note that when we are speaking of the Bin, we are referring to the pyramidion, the small pyramid fitted at the top of obelisks in the pyramids, but more specifically to the very top of the pyramidion, the uppermost point where the 4 corners of the pyramidion meet at one place, where the 4 corners, which represent the 4 cardinal points, okay, directions and time and space reality come into existence when Ra made this first solid place out of the primordial ocean, but also where they dissolve at the end of the creation cycle. Therefore, the Bin symbolizes transition point, or a transition point, and a movement downward of creation and a movement upward of dissolution. That's transcendence. If a human being were to discover the pathway of the dissolution, that person would be able to dissolve the creation and discover the transcendental nature of being. Transcendental nature. This is the objective of the Anunian Tree of Life Mysteries and its mystical intuitional discovery of the gods and goddesses within oneself. And this is what they're trying to pull out there. I forgot the guy's name, but he's coming out with the whole thing with transcendence. And so, you know, they don't, it's not their knowledge. It's derived from ancient people. Okay. Capstone, remember the capstone, cornerstone, the Ben. The stone was covered in gold or electrum. It was composed of black granite. Think about the Kaaba, the Muslims. So-called Black Pyramid, which belonged to Amin Emet III at Dashur. Let's see. The top of the Tek Anu of Anu, the Obelisk of Anu, which is one of the only surviving objects from the ancient city where Anunian theurgy was developed, is the Ben. In earlier times, the temples of Anu themselves were actually different from the temples which were used in the later periods of ancient Egyptian history. The remnants of the obelisks of the ancient Anunian temples have a huge fat base, and they were shorter, and the offerings were made to this Tek Anu temple. He shows the Tek Anu temple of the Anunian period. He shows how it would have been created. Okay. Alright. Says the obelisk or the Tek Anu is Geb's penis, which is erect and copulating with the sky or the heavens, Nut. This tantric symbolism signifies that so too a spiritual aspirant is to sublimate the sexual excitement for worldly sexual experiences into a sexual desire for reunion of the earthly nature with the innate divinity in the sky. More will be given on this tantric teachings. Okay. The Neteru are aspects of divinity, of the one divine self. Okay. The cosmic natures are Neteru, and the realms are Ta, Pet, Duat, and Nun. Nun is this where Anu is coming out of. That's why Anu is called Anu, because it comes from Nu, or the Nun, the Nunu. Okay. Duat is the netherworld. Okay. Ta means earthly. Think about the word Ti in the Mayan, Teotihuacan, right? Ti means earthly there. In the ancient Kemet, Ta means earthly, worldly. In other words, physical. See? And so we have it right there. It's beautiful things right there, y'all. It's more on the way. He has a diaphragm here. The planes of existence from the tree of life. Nunu Duat Pet Ta. Atziluth Baina Yetzera Azea. Absolute plane, causal plane, astral plane, physical plane. This is what it is. Pet means heavenly, by the way. Okay. In the heavenly realm we have space, air, ether, which is characterized as Shu. Okay. We have Geb, which is the earth. We have Tefanu, which is the water. We have Nut, which is the heavens. These are the four elements. All right. I'll be back, y'all. Gotta go. Peace. Hotep. Ashe.